Hey guys, Mike here. So today we get to answer a lot of your questions about the market and the concerns you have and everything about, what can still bring down this market. Obviously, dollar cost averaging into some major ETFs on this pullback, which I'll show you one little easy way to dollar cost average. Anybody can do it, free indicator and stuff like that. And we'll go through a few of those. Plus a couple of stocks you guys asked about. One of them is one of the worst stock charts I've seen in a long time. What a hunk of junk this company is. So I've never bought it, but good luck to those who have. And so we'll get into that. So feel free to participate in the comments and everything and answer a few of these questions yourself, or just let me know what you're thinking. So first one here talks about, what is your biggest fear in the marketplace right now? Maybe something that isn't quite obvious. And honestly, I don't have any big fears or anything, but as far as like concerns, if I had to say I had one to see if it's still done, it's going to be the carry trade for sure, or anything going on in Japan. And JP Morgan saying it's halfway done. We'll find out, right? Because you never know how much over leveraged a lot of people still are. You never know. I mean, maybe they come out and raise rates again. We'll have to see, right? But they're in a really between a rock and a hard place in Japan right now. And so, and it will, you've seen how it will affect markets, right? Depending on what they do. I'm not too much worried about the Middle East. Unless somebody does something like crazy with obviously a nuke or something, that would be a totally different ball game, or one of the big players got involved. That really would be a problem. But that's not really on my mind as much as just, stuff unraveling over in Japan again, which you've seen how quickly that can escalate for right now and stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Now, next question asked, can you explain how you pick where you draw those hollow rectangles or areas like zones that act as resistance and support? I'm looking at it and can't quite make out what you're seeing that causes you to draw them where you do. Absolutely, we'll go over some major stocks that you've seen this in. I've had these boxes up here for a long time. One's going to be NVIDIA. You can see with these boxes, and all I'm looking for is gaps, bounces, reactionary areas, right? And so all three of these have that, and you can see as we come down, we bounce right there, great, end up falling through. When we fall through them, you can see we head down the next one, and we do another bounce, right? We come back up, get rejected now, that becomes resistance, fall through that one, come down the next shaded area, bounce. Of course, you have that trend line going through there, but you can see how you're getting these major reactions off of there. That was a capitulation moment right there. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for and stuff. Again, another way to do this, kind of a cheat sheet sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, is pull up the volume profile right here, and you can see wherever you see a little tree limb, I like to call it, that's where volume's coming in at. Then that's where you're probably going to see a bounce, support, that kind of stuff. So where people, buyers or sellers, are coming in. And so it just gives you an area where, again, you're looking at an area of interest, as I like to call it. And I'm looking at, confluence, things like that. So we know gaps like to fill, funny stuff like that, fair value gaps, another one I'm looking for. AMD, again, I've had this shaded area up here for quite a while. I guess I can change the color of it. And you can see, again, it's just a big area of interest going back to 2021, where boom, rejection. Oh, wait, look, bounce. Once you get in there, rejection. Now it comes resistance again, and it becomes support again, and resistance, and all this fun stuff, right? And where do we bounce at? Right there again. And so that's what I'm looking for when I'm seeing this right here. And then any kind of confluence in there, right? Like, oh, we're at the 0.79 fib. That's great. There's a trend line going through there. That's even better, right? On futures, what I'm looking for is liquidity. That's why I draw these shaded areas. You see there's liquidity. What we do, we come down, we drew liquidity, and we bounce from there, right? As we continue up today. I was hoping we come here. We have not yet. We kind of tap the top of it and then bounce from there. And so I'm hoping we get a drawdown into there, pull that liquidity before going any higher. We'll see, but that's how I do it. Hopefully that answers your question there. And if you do any differently, let me know in the comments. Now, this next one says, can you do a more technical video on swing investing and more ETF long-term investing? It comes to long-term investing. Let me tell you something. Again, it's not financial advice. Do what you want to do, right? But if you're working a full-time job and everything, whether you have Fidelity, Vanguard, or whatever it is, I'm pretty sure all of them have charts, and you can pull up a stochastic RSI, just type that in right there. And this is momentum, right? And so what are you looking for? If you just went on here on the weekly chart and just DCA'd in, again, not financial advice, okay? Do what you want to do. But DCA'd in when you got a bullish MACD cross, like one, you would never ever buy the top. That's first and foremost. You would always be buying the turns, okay? Even if you're in a downtrend, right? You're not making a lot of purchases, so the purchases you're making, if you're one of these people like you just put back like every month or 2 weeks or whatever it is you do, the purchases would be pretty substantial, actually, to be honest with you. And you would always be buying, not at a bottom. Sometimes it will be the bottom, but again, when you get momentum turns, as you can see, there's not many purchases. This 2021 is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 purchases. And what is that, 3 years or something like that? And so again, you would be up handsomely because you're never buying the top. You're never riding down the tops, right? And so that's one easy way to do it. And again, you can try to go on the daily if you want to, but the weekly, because this is a long-term time frame for those in long-term investing, or even if you're trying to do a swing trade, I mean, you can see it's pretty good pops, right, after you get this right here. And so that's kind of what you're looking at. You can use this with crypto as well. So that's the easiest way I can tell you. Again, put in the comments, you know, if you got anything different. You can use different areas of confluence to try to go with this if you want to as well. But I'm just trying to make it very simple for people who are just trying to just do nothing but dollar cost averaging, or if you are looking for a longer term swing trade, you know. But you can see, I mean, these are nice big moves you're getting. And again, you're never ever buying at the top. Okay, that's kind of the key thing I will say about that. Now, another thing you can possibly do, again, it's always an easy one. Just pull up, you know, we'll pull up VU and then we'll pull up the moving averages, right? And when you pull up the moving averages, you know, you can buy off moving averages. That's simple. Again, you can do this for free. You can get it in Vanguard, Fidelity, Yahoo charts. It don't even matter. And so again, when you see it, and this one especially when it's in an uptrend, and please learn to identify an uptrend and downtrend, please. And so when you do that, you know, 50 and 100 is great. If it ever hits 200, well, you need to go heavy, right? If you're in an uptrend. If you're in a downtrend, you know, I would probably go off the stochastic RSI crosses if you're doing that, because once you break your moving averages, you're just kind of DCing in blindly, right? And so, but again, if you're in an uptrend, the moving averages are your friend. You can do it, and you can make, you know, maybe even more purchases. Who knows, depending on what you're purchasing at. And also, I always tell you, depends on what ETF you're in. Each one of them are going to respect different moving averages differently. That's just the way it is. So hopefully that helps. Let me know your feedback in the comments on that one. If you do things differently, I always love the suggestions. Next one says, Mike, could you look at Ford on the weekend? Looking a lot better lately this week. Well, I tell you, this one right here, key level. Let's just say that right there. I mean, you see where it's at. That level goes back to, as far as I know, 2021. I think it actually goes back farther than that. But you can see a lot of bounces. And it's trying to bounce there again. You can see the RSI is in the gutter. You see it right there. So it's getting an oversold bounce right there. And that's what happens when it lines up. Again, it's confluence, right? Oversold bounce happening on a major trend line. And again, that trend line, support line, used to be resistance. See how far back it goes? So that's a major level right there to behold. And, you know, obviously, usually you're going to see bounces. And so, again, that's one of those areas right there. So if you're like Ford or whatever, but I'll go ahead and get rid of that and put some other stuff here to tell you. But on the way back up, it's going to be rough. And you can see right there where most of the volume comes in at 11.14, right? And so getting above that, you know, 11, 14 to 12 bucks, definitely going to be an issue. There's liquidity to be grabbed up there and stuff. And also another thing I would say is not just looking at that, you got to pull up other things, right? So when you look, I mean, that's by the way, it's an enormous drop in a short amount of time, right? But when you pull up your moving averages, again, you can see getting back through this, whoo, boy, that's going to be tough. 50, 100, 200, you know, your volume profile, where all the volume's coming at. That's going to be rough getting back through there. And so, and again, this ain't some high flyer. This is Ford. So we'll see what happens on this one. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing on Ford right there. You should absolutely get the bounce, but it has to hold that level for sure. Now this one right here, boy, Mike, can you see Intel bouncing at the extension you previously mentioned in previous videos? Looks like there's small gaps being filled. Thanks for your lessons. This is one of the worst stock charts I've seen in a long time for a major company, right? Not like some penny stock, not a SPAC stock, SPAC, that we were doing in 2021. You know, not some small cap stock. I mean, look at this thing. Just destroyed. Look at this. Rarely do I have to go to a monthly, but I'm actually going to pull up a monthly chart of this thing to show you, because this trend line goes that far back that I'm fixing to pull up for you, and this stock has been just nuked. I mean, if you're a long-term holder, please, and when you start buying, please put that in the comments if you DCA'd in this whole time. But when you look at this thing, again, that trend line is a monthly chart, okay? That's where it's at. See where it's at? Have to go back here, 2016, 2012, 2013. You can see was resistance, then became support. So you would expect a bounce, but it goes back farther than that. It goes back to the dot-com bubble as being resistance, okay? Even pre-dot-com bubble. That shows you how bad this one is. and you pull up, you know, the moving averages, dude, this thing's below the daily and all the weekly moving averages. I mean, that's not good. Okay. When you pull up your fibs, the 0.79 lines up right there. I have to go back to the 08 crash. I haven't had to do this in a while. I don't think I've ever done it on any stock, actually. There was a major company like this, but there it is. I mean, so perfect area for a bounce. Again, like I said, and I told people in our Discord, and I've told you guys, there's going to be fakers, makers, pretenders, and winners, right, during this AI pump and all the semiconductor stuff and everything. And boy, which one do you think this is? What is Wall Street telling you about this one? Telling you it's a mess. Why should it bounce? Look at that. That's the weekly chart. It's not the daily chart. That is the weekly RSI. Look how oversold that thing is. So yes, it absolutely can get a bounce, but from what I keep reading, they are so far behind trying to compete with NVIDIA and AMD and all these rest of these semiconductors that, you know, that's where our tax dollars go, I guess, from what I've read. But again, I never bought it, so feel free to put in the bottom what you think, what your bullish case is for it, what your bearish case is. Should it get a bounce? Absolutely, it should get a bounce. But again, not financial advice, just looking at this chart. But that is a hot mess of a company right there. Now, next one here, it says, is there any way to follow famous traders' moves more accurately, like Pelosi, for example? We hear they bought NVIDIA or PNW or wherever we find out like 3 months later or something like that. Is there a way to find out closer to the actual time? Truth is, you know, maybe there is. I've never heard of it. But, you know, you can track this right here. Smart Insider, Capital Trade does your politicians. I'll tell you something about that in a second, though. And when it comes to that, though, they are supposed to report within 30 to 45 days, right? But understand, some of these guys don't report for 6 to 12 months if they report at all, right? Because there's supposed to be somebody holding them accountable, but from what I can find, there ain't nobody holding them accountable. Because I've seen multiple, like a year later, they'll report what they did, you know, 12 months earlier, which is ridiculous, okay? You also have like Hedge Follow, Well Wisdom, some others where you can follow the hedge funds, right? Like BlackRock and Vanguard, the big boys, right? And what they're doing, and famous investors like Warren Buffett and a lot of other big investors. So, you know, and there sometimes you find out 13F, it's, you know, 30 days before, you know, or after they did it. But also the fact that, yeah, usually it is 3 months. I mean, and so if you know of any site that's really up to date, like all the time, you know, maybe within like 7 days, let us know and stuff in the comments and everything. But the truth is, I mean, for me, you know, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But also remember, these guys are getting in early, right? So you may see them buying something and say it's like in March, right, the first quarter. But they could already, by the time the report comes out, they could already sold that thing and went short or something. You just don't know. But also remember, they try to get in early. Okay, so when the market's still going down, they may be buying. That's just the way it is. So if you buy it and go, oh my God, I'm down 20%. Because they're you know, they come in early like that because they're not trying to time it. Because remember, a lot of these guys, not their money, right? It's our money we're sending to them to invest, and so they're like, hey, thanks, appreciate it. So, you know, hopefully that helps out and everything. But you know, feel free to put down in the comments if you know any sites, anything like that. So anyway, that's all we got for this video, guys. Really appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Feel free to submit any more questions you have. Should be an interesting upcoming week. We'll have the video out tomorrow to set up the week. So we do get some major economic news hitting, so it will definitely cause a lot of volatility for sure. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you tomorrow.